Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man again, coming to you from parts unknown. My goodness, I'm sorry about that earlier broadcast. I got a terrible frog in my throat. I couldn't even talk. But I apologize for that. I'll talk about it some more. But I hope I didn't throw you all for a loop. I was outside a lot today, and it is very cold. And when you get inside, you get a lot of congestion and stuff. So I couldn't even get a word out. So anyway, I don't know if I'm simulcasting on Rumble and YouTube. I'll skip my intro because I already did that. And Candace, how you doing? I appreciate you coming in and everybody who I let down in the earlier broadcast. But I tell you, I couldn't even get a word out. And Felix, how you doing? Todd, how are you doing? Randy, Robin. So, yeah, I don't know if you ever spend a lot of time in the cold outside and then come in and get warmed up. And before you know it, you're very congested. And like I said, I got a frog in my throat. I couldn't even talk. Couldn't even catch my breath. So anyway, here I am. I made it. I'm going to skip the intro. I'm going to save that for another time. I like that intro. That video I put up about how they organize this immigration thing to mess up the congressional maps and all that. I had that in my studio that got wiped out when my memory got corrupted from afar. And Donald Trump posted that very same video today, as a matter of fact. Today. And so I said, oh boy, I got it. I could just recopy it. I got to blow my nose. Ha ha ha. Yeah, everything's fine till you start getting warmed up and stuff. I don't know what your temperatures that you all have been dealing with, but it hasn't been above freezing. In a couple of weeks in parts unknown, it's been cold. Lori's here, Rain's here, Miss Mendersu. Nice to see you. I explained what happened at the beginning of the video. If you care afterwards to rewind. Debbie's here, Kim's here. Robin, Randy, Felix, Todd. Yeah, I got everybody. All right. So, maybe some people come back that were in here. I don't know. Hi, Lori. Nice to see you. Darla, nice to see you. So anyway, I have a video because as we're all figuring it out, they said a narrative. It's not just for us. It's a worldwide narrative of garbage. And they all play along with it. All the world leaders. I've got on my thumbnail picture, who's your daddy? Where'd that go? Here it is. Who's your daddy? And that's Zoran Mamdani, of course. And that's his mommy with Epstein. And the Laura Logan video I play on a lot of my intros, she says, all of our leaders are selected. And a lot of people have said that these pictures are reminiscent of Justin Trudeau and Fidel Castro, right? So now we've got this character, a flat-out communist, as head of New York, and who knows what other kind of nefarious things they've been up to, and what other plots and plans and schemes. And people say, the conspiracy theorists are crazy. Hey, we've been proven right on every damn thing. And so this business of the COVID-19, we're going to talk about that and how it's tied into election theft, okay? I'm not going to say fraud. I'm going to say theft. And they stole. They stole from us. They stole our freedom, our rights to live, our select our own leaders and make our own self-determination of where we want to go in life. and now they are trying to change the entire culture and political beliefs of the nation as far as it being represented in a democratic republic by infusing it with a bunch of low trust, low IQ, Marxist centered a voting block. Just move them on in. So anyway, Mountain, how you doing? Yeah, I explained it all at the beginning of the video. Darla, Mountain, Rebecca. Okay, Yvonne's here. All right, Lucky. All right, nice to see you, Elva. All right, I made it back. Yeah, I had a little episode, but I'll be okay. So anyway, it's tough with this, below zero weather and stuff not getting above freezing. But I tell you what, I love my wood stove. And I hope it loves me. But as many of you know who've been with me from the beginning, I can't broadcast near my wood stove because, a big piece of iron, it just does something to the signal. It doesn't go around as good. So I got to broadcast from another location. But anyway, these lunatics are, I'm talking narratives, and we've been living a narrative most of our lives. I could play the Matrix video, about taking a pill and breaking out of the Matrix, I'll do that on another intro sometime. Hi, David. How you doing? Todd's here. Let's see. And Miss Mendersu. Wait a minute. I could joke and say, what happened to me, I saw what Miss Mendersu, she went by buy me a coffee, and that knocked me for a loop. But boom, I'm going to give Miss Mendersu a boom for going by buy me a coffee. Kapow! And also Wayne. I went by a boom. But anyway, I do appreciate it to start off this week. Miss Mendersu and Wayne, I do appreciate it very much. I'll put a link in the chats for Buy Me a Coffee if anybody wants to help the channel out. But I could say I got knocked for a loop because I opened it up and saw what Miss Mendersu put in there. So anyway, I'm just kidding. But last week, Mike and Bev helped out, and actually twice, so they should get a shout out this week. Colette, Todd, Pappy Two Bears, Wayne again, Norm, and Mr. Kennedy to finish up last week. I do appreciate it. So anyway, you fighting chicken coop doors? Oh, I know you can't. You got to kick that grass, get it to open up. You're just staying warm, Debbie. Yeah, I know it's been bad. It's supposed to warm up a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. But it is winter time, and you got to take care of them chickens. So put your little chili powder in their water, and it'll warm them up. They'll feel warm, believe it or not. But anyway, red peppers in the water, they'll lay more eggs. There's Miss Mendersu. She put her booms in. Yeah, usually I give Miss Mendersu hearts. Pow! But I'll do a boom this time. Yeah, Wayne says, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, it's a good thing to do. So anyway, so Trump is shaking them up. And, I got this video. I'll play you that where Trump said, I said in the past that, I said a couple of days ago that Trump was at the World Economic Forum, and he said people were going to go to jail over the election. And a lot of you said, I heard him say it too. Here's a little clip. They're sickening. The leftist media is sickening, and the left in general. But anyway, I'm gonna play this, and this is gonna have a little clip in there with Trump at the World Economic Forum. But and I might stop it to comment. But they're keeping up that narrative that We got our day in court over 2020. What a damn lie. And anyway, I'll play it. You all can hear Trump, what he says about the people who cheated.
Fact, I want to talk to you about the midterms. And I want to play you something. This was in focus this week. President Trump said this last week at Davos. This was about the 2020 elections. Take a look.
It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. Can't have rigged elections.
Is it healthy for...
Now, see how your mind plays tricks on you? I could have swore he said there were people going to go to jail, but he said, and maybe he said that later on, I don't know. But in this particular quote, he said, there are people who will be prosecuted. So anyway, he didn't say they were going to go to jail. He said prosecuted. So it's, hey, I gotta say mea culpa as far as this particular clip. But anyway, let's hear her fortify the narrative and repeat the narrative that we got our day in court, right? And it's already been decided that Trump is wrong because they hung their prosecutions, their prosecution hat. They hung it on a nail on the wall. And the nail on the wall was that Trump was unlawfully trying to take over and steal the election for himself. And that nail is rusty and weak, and their hat fell to the floor, if you know what I mean.
For this country's democracy, for the sitting president to be questioning the 2020 election 5 years ago, something claims that have been deemed to be false, again now that he lost.
What's healthy for our country and our democracy is for everyone to be laser focused on election integrity. If you don't have free and fair
election. That's not election integrity, Mr. Speaker.
Yes,
this was asked and answered and litigated and relitigated. The page has been turned. He's still talking about an election that he lost, allegations which have been deemed claimed.
The president
false.
is keeping the focus on election integrity. It must be in the forefront of everyone's minds, because if you don't have a free and fair election, you cannot maintain a constitutional republic. He's bothered by what happened in 2020. And we all know there was a lot of irregularity and problem in that, and we're not going to relitigate it. That's not the point. What we have to do is go forward and ensure that we don't have these problems in the future. That's why the House has passed the SAVE Act twice already. We have further election integrity measures that we're working on now, and everybody in both parties should applaud that. They should support it.
You're saying there were irregularities. State and federal election officials called 2020 the most secure election in history. But let me ask you about what's happening in Georgia this week. FBI agents...
Did you see Mike Johnson giggle a little bit, laugh a little bit when she said officials said it was the most secure election? And who is she saying deemed it? It's already been deemed that Trump lost. Who is the deemer? The deemer. That's what we want to know. But anyway, so they look like idiots, and the narrative is deflating. So let me see if this is the report on, let's see what this one is. Hold on. Let me see what Trump, as usual, is putting out a lot of stuff. 65,000 desperate calls. This was reposted by Trump, by Texas girl, right? Ex-Texas girl. Desperate calls for unaccompanied migrant kids ignored under Biden. And get this, the hotline had one staffer for 65,000 calls. And they're all showing the kid with a Spider-Man backpack. This noble judge let him and his father out, even though they're unlawful presence with the father, and he abandoned the child. Andrew Branca, the great and powerful Andrew Branca, that's his descriptive words for other people, so I'll give it to him too. But anyway, Andrew Branca said it was the most moronic and oh, well, maybe he didn't use the word moronic, but he was astounded at the total lack of legal reasoning that was in her ruling. It was all estrogenic emotions and narrative nonsense. But anyway, not one, had one staffer, Democrats, crickets. If Trump did this, you'd riot and call it genocide. Hypocrite libs. Where's your compassion? So I'll play this video here because Trump posted it with that post. And we want to, repetition. And I saw in the comments about Sidney Powell. I respond at times, I put hearts on comments and stuff, but I read them even if I don't do something right away with a comment. But anyway, yeah, Sidney Powell put stuff up months ago and also years ago. And the awakening is people are going to be seeing this stuff for the first time. So in order to assist in the Great Awakening, even though we know it already, we can't say, oh, that's old news. We have to be excited and say Sidney Powell's going to drop the hammer. Because a lot of people don't even know who Sidney Powell is. Doesn't even know what she and Rudy Giuliani did. Going all over the state of Georgia, making their case, and then were persecuted. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to act all excited with something that's old news. But anyway, here Trump has reposted this video because he posted this video earlier, before, But hey, how many people that are going to start paying attention now never knew that there were 65,000 calls to this call center, and they only had one staffer, and it is to help children, for crying out loud.
So you're telling this committee that the Biden administration, while they were letting all of these unaccompanied minors into the country, and as we've talked about today, they weren't keeping track of them, they issued these kids a hotline that they could call if they had trouble with the sponsor family that they were put with. And you're saying that 65,000 calls to this hotline designated to protect these kids went unanswered? Is that what you're telling this committee?
Yes, sir.
Wow. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Do you know how many staffers the administration assigned to answering these phones and helping these kids? One staffer? Any idea how many hours a day this staffer was working?
No.
Maybe that's why there were 65,000 calls that weren't answered from these little kids, huh? Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. We knew that. We saw this video some time ago. But hey, I put it out there like, hey, everybody, here's some big news. And because we got people that are coming in that are totally blind to what has been happening. So let's see, here's a Fox News alert. Let's go ahead and play this. Alert, alert, Fox News alert. Somebody said that Sean Hannity called Fox News fake news. Dan Scavino, he got married in Mar-a-Lago. I got an article on that. But anyway, here's Fox News.
Now we have a Fox News alert. The Supreme Court just cleared the way for Trump to deport illegals even faster. The High Court ruled that Trump can use the Alien Enemies Act to send Venezuelan gangbangers to a mega prison in El Salvador. This is a huge ruling in Trump's favor and a major win for the country. After, as you know, D.C. Judge James Boasberg ordered a stop to the deportations. So this is pretty significant. These deportations, Caroline, can keep going.
This is a massive legal victory, Jesse, a massive victory for law and order and for our constitutional republic and the sovereignty.
Now, I'm interrupting her because I don't know if it might say it in this report, but it was a 5-4 decision, folks. 5-4. If one person would have gone the wrong way, James Dracula Boasberg, okay? Bozoberg, who was ordering the planes around in the air, absolutely insane, fighting to keep illegal immigrants in this country, criminal illegal aliens in this country. I know Sotomayor, Jackson, and Elena Kagan, they're three. Who was the fourth one? I'm sorry to say I didn't find out. If you know, put it in the chats. Who was the fourth one? Because we got to give them the side eye for sure.
Of the United States of America. We called on the Supreme Court to rein in these activist judges like Judge Boasberg, who was completely out of line in trying to say that the president didn't have the executive authority to deport foreign terrorists off of our soil. We have always maintained the position at the White House that the president was well within his constitutional authority to do so. And this decision proves that President Trump and our administration have always been right from the beginning. He will continue to utilize the Alien Enemies Act to remove foreign terrorists and Tren de Aragua members, vicious gang members from American communities. And because of this ruling, the United States of America is a much safer place. Our team will get to work tomorrow to deport these heinous, violent foreign terrorists from our neighborhoods.
And you had another couple critical wins in the court with regard to Doge. Tell us about those. That seems to be making progress.
Yes, absolutely. There have been many wins that the mainstream media has failed to cover, particularly over the weekend. The Supreme Court also ruled that the president does, in fact, have the authority over federal funding, that he can dictate what funds can go out the door and what can't, so long as they are part of the executive branch. So we have always, again, maintained that every executive order the president has signed, every executive action that he has taken has been well within his executive authority. And Doge is doing a tremendous job at cutting back at the waste and the fraud and the abuse that have been ripping off American taxpayers, that have not been aligned with our interests here in our country. So we're going to continue the president's agenda. Again, he's well within his constitutional authority, and it's great to see the Supreme Court reining in these activist judges who are wearing robes but are acting as judicial activists, not as real judges and real arbiters of the law.
All right. Lawyers wrong. I can't believe a lawyer would ever be wrong. It just amazes me. They think they're always right. I guess not this time. Sorry, Boasberg. We love you, but we're sorry.
Caroline, thank you.
What was that all about? What do you mean you love him? I mean, that is a dangerous judge. He's dangerous. And Sotomayor and Kagan, okay? Sotomayor and Jackson, I mean. Kagan's halfway manageable, halfway. But we shouldn't even have that on the Supreme Court. But at the very least, we can't continue to have Supreme Court judges like Jackson and Sotomayor. It's ridiculous. And Boasberg should be investigated. He should be investigated, and he had no business taking that case. So it's worrisome. It's a victory, but it's worrisome. So we got to see what the narrative is going to be. I see probably Robert. So I don't think anybody has. Hi, Randy. Knows which is the one that was number 4. Hi, Donald. Yeah, send a judge. Yeah, I would. I think we're going to have our own CCOT in Greenland. USA CCOT, right? So anyway, oh, by the way, folks, I want to start off with this. We lost another one. As I've said before, precious time. We don't know when our time is going to be up. The big dummy, the dumb dummy, Lamont. And a lot of you that have been with me for a while heard me refer to Fred Sanford, calling his son a dummy, dumb dummy. And I talked about how he was doing videos talking about some of the nefarious doings in Hollywood. right? But he lived a long life. He was either late 79 years old or maybe he made it to 80. I'm not sure. And his son said he had been suffering from cancer, reputedly prostate cancer. So it's sad. But he turned to evangelism prior to his passing, and he has some interesting videos out there about Hollywood. Okay, what that word comes from. He said that witches use Hollywood for their wands and their rituals or whatever. That's where the name came from. It's interesting, I'll put it that way. But I don't think he was waylaid for the things he was saying. But anyway, another icon has passed. Interesting. So precious time, folks. We never know, do we? Never know. But anyway, we're going to go through some stuff that Todd said Barrett with a question mark. I don't know, and I can't really go in to look it up. Miss Mendersu, you're making us dinner wonderful. I gave you some booms at the beginning. Let's see. I was joking around about what you're putting in Buy Me a Coffee. But anyway, let me see. Let's get to where Trump put out a comment, a statement about a lot of things. Let's see what this one is. One is that he wasn't going to have federal agents running down until the governors and the local officials say, please. I'll get to that one in a minute. But let's see, the theft and fraud in Minnesota is far greater than $19 billion originally projected. Now, that's what we were saying. That everybody's saying 19 billion. No, it's way more than that. The Biden administration knew this fraud was happening and did absolutely nothing about it. Scammer Ilhan Omar and her absolutely terrible friends from Somalia should all be in jail right now. Or, far worse, send them back to Somalia. Governor Walsh is either the most corrupt government official in history or the most incompetent. Even a very low IQ person, of which there are many, should have known what was going on in Minnesota. President Donald J. Trump. So again, Ilhan Omar has been told she's going to be going into the joint or back to her country. This is the one I think where Trump laid it out. The radical left lunatics, insurrectionists, agitators, and thugs are going after Kristi Noem. And Kristi Noem didn't say anything out of line about that noble nurse. He was participating in terrorist activity, domestic terrorism, hounding law enforcement, interfering, trying to violate federal law. Anyway, the Secretary of Homeland Security, because she is a woman, he's throwing that back in her face, and has done a really great job. The border disaster that I inherited is fixed. The violent criminals that were allowed into our country through Sleepy Joe's sick open border policy are largely gone, or being strongly sought for purposes of removal. And the murder rate in the USA just reached the lowest level in history. I'm just reading that line. the violent criminals are largely gone. I don't know about that. So the murder rate just reached the lowest level in 125 years. Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest cities in America. Likewise, numerous other once very dangerous cities. Republicans don't let these crooked Democrats who are stealing billions of dollars from Minnesota and other cities and states from all over the country push you around. They are using this aggressive protest scam to obfuscate, camouflage, and hide their criminal acts of theft and insurrection. They should all be in jail. Whoa. With Ilhan, I was elected on strong borders and law and order, among many other things. Thank you to Secretary Kristi Noem. Remember, elections have consequences. President Donald J. Trump, he's throwing that back at Obama's face when he said elections have consequences. But anyway, along with his strong stance, he's putting out videos about the steal, right? And he said it when he said people will be prosecuted. He was in Davos. He was talking directly to leaders that either had knowledge and didn't say anything or were involved in what they did to us collectively. With the CVID to cause a atmosphere and an environment where they could cheat. They used CVID to destroy the economy and to try to turn people against Trump. And many of them may have participated through the Hammer and Scorecard program that Sidney Powell was talking about to overthrow Donald Trump. Trump reposted Juanita Broderick. We knew it was stolen. The Dems knew it too. That's why they tried to put Trump in prison. They knew he'd dig deep enough to find out. So I've got two videos that show Pennsylvania. Let me see. This is the one Trump put up. There we go. See Trump? So let's see what he is putting out about the election itself, not just Pennsylvania.
Over 1.5 million fraudulent votes counted, and the spread is less than 82,000 votes. These fraudulent votes come from dead voters, ballots that were received before they were supposedly mailed out, and over 330,000 electronic spikes from the voting machine. 205,000 overvotes, meaning there were 205,000 more votes than registered voters, and 682,000 ballots that were illegally processed without any oversight whatsoever. More than 1.5 million votes in Pennsylvania is apparently what it took for Joe Biden to steal the state. Georgia has a similar phenomenon that Democrats are failing to account for. 66,248 underage voters voted in Georgia. 10,315 dead people voted. 2,500 convicted felons voted. Nearly 200,000 votes were fraudulently inserted into the vote count instantaneously. 4,500 votes come from unregistered voters. These numbers show a clear pattern that a variety of types of fraud occurred in this election and that Democrats are desperately trying to cover it up. They are going to great lengths to change the narrative of the election fraud in an effort to run out the clock to January 20th, 2020. In addition to President Trump's team, many independent groups have completed research on the fraud, and the results are staggering. Totaling across the country, millions of votes were fraudulently covered up, changed, or deleted in favor of Joe Biden. The governors and secretaries of state have actively participated in the cover-up, removing information from their website that is normally easily accessible to the public and depriving conservatives a chance to audit or review the results are just some of their tactics. In Arizona, the final result is only a difference of 10,457, yet 36,400 non-citizens voted in the state. Arizona also experienced phantom spikes from the voting machines to the tune of roughly 50,000 additional votes going to Joe Biden. These numbers come from information that is publicly available, whether from the Secretary of State's website before the content was removed or from the raw data that was pushed out on election night.
Yeah, so I want to ask Christine Welker.
Over 1.5.
I want to ask Christine Welker. Here she is interviewing the Speaker of the House. She's interviewed Trump multiple times. Where do you get your information, Christine Welker? You just bop through life just reading notes people hand you. You're going to interview the President of the United States, and you don't read what he puts out on social media on his own platform. And then you're going to have the gall to tell people that the election theft was disproven, deemed false. You don't even know what the President of the United States posts and call yourself a reporter. That is what I would say to her. I'm curious about this video here. Let me see. Well, here's another post from Trump. What is this? Oh, the IRGC are in panic mode. The Iranian guard, right? And Trump put out about, what was it, 7 seconds or something like that of guys running around the street. They didn't know where they're coming or going. We'll get into the Iranian situation in a minute. But I want to see if this video, this might be the same video. I don't know, that I just played. Let's see. Or is it something else?
Pennsylvania had over 1.5 million fraudulent votes counted, and the spread is less than 82,000
all right,
votes.
we already got that. Okay. All right, I had 2 copies of it. That's all right. So anyway, for those of you who did not see my aborted first attempt to broadcast tonight, I had this video for a couple of years, and then my memory got corrupted where I had a lot of videos stored going back a long time. And I'm recovering stuff little by little. But anyway, this is a video. You know, I've gotten some new subscribers, so they may not have seen this. I used to play this video on my intro, and I will in the future. Donald Trump posted it today, and I'll go ahead and play it now because it lays out very close to exactly what they've been up to. Of course, it doesn't cover everything. Not the stuff about Epstein, not the stuff about them trying to put Trump in jail, but why and how they're stealing elections, what they're trying to do to our country.
Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts. a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved. The best part? Your tax dollars are paying for it.
So, for those of you who are new to the channel, yeah, Donald Trump posted that video today. And I've been playing it for a long time, off and on in my intros. So, yeah, things are coming together. Hi, Pappy Two Bears. Nice to see you. Yeah, things are going to start coming together. Coming out more and more. That's right. So, speaking of things coming out, this Epstein character. Here's a video of him. You don't see many videos of him. But he's being interviewed. I don't know who's doing the interviewing. If you all know, when was this interview? Who did it? But he's talking about Bill Clinton being responsible. Well, I'll go ahead and play it.
But what really happened, the real enemy of the finance system was Bill Clinton. And if you ask me what and who caused the financial crisis, I would tell you it was Bill Clinton.
Because of what Bob Rubin and he did to the deregulate the financial system?
No. Because as of the last time we had our 60-minute interview, you talked to me about home ownership. And you asked me whether everyone should own a home. And I told you, no, it's too risky.
So the financial collapse of 2008 is because of hardworking African Americans, Hispanics, and whites who wanted to have a ownership stake in the society that all rests on their shoulders. They're the culprits.
No, not at all.
Okay, then
I didn't say they were the culprits. I was pretty clear it was Bill Clinton.
He's claiming Bill Clinton was responsible for the financial collapse because they had made lending requirements so lax. You had every screwball getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in housing loans or more that they had no ability to pay back, and it caused a big mess. So anyway, yeah, Steve Bannon, yeah, okay, that's right. The Bannon War Room, all right. So anyway, a lot of stuff's coming out about Epstein, and many of you heard about Bill Gates, right? Here it is. Nick Sorter. I think I got multiple. What's going on here? Come on. There we go. Multiple little articles about this. Breaking: the new Epstein file dump reveals Bill Gates was begging Jeffrey Epstein for antibiotics to discreetly slip. Now we know one of the reasons why she divorced him, I believe. What would you do if you found out your husband was just discreetly slipping antibiotics into your dinner or your drink or whatever to his then wife Melinda after Bill contracted STDs from S3X with Russian girls? So, yeah, there's the, many of you all have seen that form. I think that would be enough to make people want to never see you again, actually, much less. So the narrative there, you hear Russian girls. What people are talking about now is that the whole Epstein thing, instead of saying Israel, Mossad, P3DO financiers suspected in being engaged in the world's largest honey trap operation. Epstein links to Putin And Secret Service raised fears he was a Russian agent. Okay. That's a narrative somebody is coming up with. Somebody's coming up with it. It's, people are going to believe what they want to believe, which country's behind it. But this latest drop doesn't hurt Trump. He gave an interview on Air Force One, and I can't hear a word of it. It's very difficult to hear. But he did say that they were trying, Epstein was working, there's a guy that's going to get in trouble over this, was working with different people to set Trump up. That's what Trump was saying, that they were trying to set him up. Here's Daily Mail version. We know Daily Mail's out of the UK, right? The same picture of Ghislaine and a little skin over there. But anyway, Epstein's S3X empire was KGB honey trap. That's what the Daily Mail's saying. Okay. All right. P3DO financier had multiple talks with Putin after conviction, namely Epstein's conviction, with Russian girls flown in to harvest compromat on world famous figures. Compromat would be compromising. Compromising. So, what's going to come out from that? Was there foreign influence, which we know there was, but from who? To give Epstein that illegal plea deal that Trump threw in the trash pail and had him rearrested. Which we've discussed that here ad nauseum. Ad nauseum. Let me see. What's this one? Is this anything to do with Epstein? Oh, okay. This is something I had from the other day. James O'Keefe, he's pointing out about his journalists being arrested and their homes being raided and them being charged. And James O'Keefe is saying, how come Lemon gets off so easy? But just something to put in your memory banks. And if somebody's talking to you about Don Lemon, point out that James O'Keefe and his employees went through hell and nobody said a damn thing. And I brought up Catherine Herridge, okay? Catherine Herridge's office being blockaded and all her files being gone through. But anyway, back to Epstein. So what you see on the screen is the Zohran Mamdani's mommy. Well, I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it does. And as I said before, brings a lot of memories about Justin Trudeau and Fidel Castro. Okay? So there's something interesting happening in Spain. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Talking about Epstein. What are you talking about Spain? I've talked before how communism and Marxism, in my opinion, is a tool of what I consider to be satanic forces that we've been dealing with for thousands of years, okay? And Spain has been commie since before World War II. Who helped the communists take over Spain? Who helped the communists take over Spain? Zohran Mamdani messing around, her mother messing around with Epstein, and then you got Zohran taking over the biggest financial hub in the country of New York City, and he's a communist. Then you had Justin Trudeau, his father, allegedly being a communist leader in Cuba. Now we got Trump putting a lot of pressure on Cuba. We have this worldwide narrative about no one is illegal, especially on stolen ground, stolen land, all that stuff. It's worldwide. And I don't see any guesses as to who helped the communist takeover in Spain. The communist revolution in Spain. And you know what he got for his troubles from Spain after he helped them militarily and financially? He got squat. He got squat. Nothing. Oh, I don't know either, Todd. I was reading your Graybeard. That's a good guess, Graybeard. He probably assisted, but the main assistance, there isn't 10 cents worth of dirty ice in a glass difference between fascism, communism, socialism. Just that simple. Exactly, Todd. Yeah, you should have used a 1 for an I or a 3 for an E on that name. You know how the Franco is the one who took over. Franco was heading it up. And Franco turned his back on Adolf and Mussolini. And if it wasn't for them, the communists never would have took over Spain. So anyway, in Spain, they are driving to legalize 500,000, which doesn't sound like a lot compared to the problems we've been having. But they're going to give blanket amnesty to 500,000 illegals. Because the communists are losing their grip on Spain after all these years, since the 1940s. The Spanish left openly admits to cheating in elections by legalizing migrants to vote for them. So I have that video. Here we are. Why is this important? Because that's exactly what they're trying to do here. Don't deport families. We agree that you should take out violent criminals, but don't deport little boys with Spider-Man backpacks, or their father, or Kilmar Abrego Garcia, or anybody like that. But anyway, here you go. Happening now.
Quiero pedirles a las personas migrantes y racializadas que por favor no nos dejen solas con tanto facha. Y claro que sí queremos que voten, claro que sí. Hemos conseguido papeles, regularización ya. Y ahora vamos a por la nacionalidad o a cambiar la ley para que puedan votar, por supuesto. Ojalá, teoría del reemplazo, ojalá podamos barrer de fachas y de racistas este país con gente migrante, con gente trabajadora. Claro que yo quiero que haya reemplazo de fachas, reemplazo de racistas, reemplazo de vividores. Y que lo podamos hacer con la gente trabajadora de este país, tenga el color de la piel que tenga, sea china, negra, marrona, con todas compañeras las gentes trabajadoras de este país.
She mentioned everybody but white people. Everybody but white people. So, if you don't agree with the communist agenda, you're a racist and a scrounger. You notice that? A scrounger. Now, wait a minute. somebody's going to come around me saying that I have to give the fruits of my labor up, surrender my rights to what I've worked for and earned, and give it to them because they're spending their time demanding that from me. That's what how they spend their time. They're called beggars, okay? Demanding beggars. There's nothing worse than a beggar who demands, okay? And they manipulate words and turn us into scroungers. Oh, you're going out to work for a living. You're submitting a contract to build something, competing to do something. That means you're scrounging, or does it mean working? Okay, but anyway, so they are admitting they want to legalize these individuals so that they can win elections. So the next video they had up was they're lining up. They're lining up. This, if you spent your life working in Spain, for Spain, you're a patriot, and you believed in that, they say socialism, but we know it's communism. But anyway, contributing and all this and that. And then you see this is what's coming to get a piece of your pie that you work so hard for.
Spain has announced it will grant legal residency to 500,000 undocumented migrants, and the impact could be seen immediately. In Barcelona, hundreds lined up outside the Pakistani consulate, hoping to secure the paperwork needed to apply.
There will be a lot of difference, like I can travel to my home country and meet my parents and work here legally so I can pay my tax, and further I can apply for my permanent residency.
The measure will apply to foreign nationals who have been in Spain for at least 5 months before December 31st, 2025. Applicants will also need to prove they don't have a criminal record. If granted, they'll receive a 1-year residence permit with the possibility of extension. The process is expected to be open from April to the end of June. It's the largest regularization drive Europe has seen in years, and it goes against the trend of many European countries taking harsher measures against irregular migration. Spain's Prime Minister has repeatedly argued that migration is essential for the country's economic performance. He said it accounted for about 80% of growth over the past 6 years and some 10% of social security revenues. The Spanish left-wing government brought in the plan by royal decree, allowing it to bypass parliament. Opposition parties have criticized the policy. The far-right Vox party said it would take legal action against it.
That looks like Ghislaine's sister, doesn't it? Ha ha ha! I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just pointing it out. It kind of looks like her sister. But anyway, so I'm talking narrative. I'm talking worldwide push for a certain way of government. Worldwide manipulation of the population to achieve leadership positions, namely steal authority, okay? By using rhetoric and empathy and the ignorant to violate your own laws, your own principles, to outlive the people that built a nation upon very special and specific principles and eternal truths. So, to turn it into, you're right, Graybeard, a worker's paradise. But the thing is, nobody understands or considers who's going to be lording over the workers in their paradise. Who's going to have, they certainly won't have control of their lives. So anyway, here is some nitwit from Spain. I don't know if he's a prime minister or what the hell they call him over there. Here's excuse me, folks, for being crude. Here's a rat bastard commie, okay, right here. And he's just letting us know that this is the right thing to do. It's the good thing to do because we have to be empathetic and we have to be nice, okay? That's what I call a rat bastardo caministo.
Yes, my country has offered a path to regulate 500,000 undocumented migrants. 500,000 people we live with every day, at the market, on the bus, at our children's school, people who care for our parents, work in the fields, who have built hand in hand with us the progress of our country. People who were already here, already part of our lives. Some say we've gone too far, that we're going against the current. But I would like to ask you, when did recognizing rights become something radical? When did empathy become something exceptional? Spain is above all a welcoming country, and this is the path we choose: dignity, community, and justice.
You're a bad person if you don't agree with them letting everybody in. Letting everybody in. It's the same damn narrative, and you can look at the world as a chessboard, okay? And the positions of power, just how they got as far as they've gotten in this country by making sure they had prosecutors who were either on the take or too afraid or true believers in communism or being extorted. When they got a foothold into prosecutors' offices around this country, that's when they started nibbling from it within and undermining our judicial system. And it's taken off to the point that it's at now. But speaking of narratives, here, how many times are we going to... This is a new narrative, folks. Congresswoman Laura Gillen, quote, sending Haitians to Haiti is a death sentence. Okay, so now, if they're here illegally, we're the bad guys for sending them back. We're the problem. Never mind that Abraham Lincoln sent Frederick Douglass to Haiti to be the governor of that state. How many of you all knew that? Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was a tough man. Frederick Douglass was a smart man. Frederick Douglass scrapped and fought for his freedom. He was personal friends with Abraham Lincoln. And like I said, he was a tough man. But he threw his hands up and came back and said, I don't want to have anything to do with that hedonistic society. They don't have God. They don't want God. And as far as I'm concerned, they can be left to their own damn devices. And that was from the prominent black man of the time. And so they can't say we didn't try to help them in Haiti. He had all the backing he could ask for. So here we go again. What's this right here? Remember this one with the cowboy hat? What's her name? Representative Wilson. Stephen Miller posted this. So in their minds, this is an argument for having an open border with Haiti. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. And wokeness. Representative Wilson. To send Haitians back to Haiti is a death sentence, full of warfare, and an ape, and violence. So the narrative is being set. How many times are you going to hear it? Just like the narrative was being said about Donald Trump. Exaggerations, falsehoods, finger pointing, repeated, parroted, mockingbird media over and over and over again that did nothing but inculcate vitriol and public hostility towards the President of the United States. So they're going to keep it up with the same thing with this narrative. You're seeing the narrative starting to be built. Here's another narrative. Here's Kathy Hochul. Half of New Yorkers are on Medicaid. I'll play her. But let me point something out. Medicaid is different from Medicare. Medicare, when you turn 65, you're required to belong to Medicare. It's not an option. They'll take a premium out of your Social Security check. In my opinion, it's a damn scam. Now that they have control over 1/3 of the nation's economy, they've socialized our medicine. It's a communist system. Our medical system is a communist system. There's no choice. That's Medicare. Medicaid is for people who can't afford it, people on disability, people with special needs, okay? They can get it before they're 65. And as a friend of mine once said many years ago, when I had a friend / tenant, I kind of took care of him, helped him or whatever. He was on Medicaid. His nickname, unfortunately, was Creepy Pete, but he was a nice guy. He did kind of look weird, but he had a good nature. He was a good-natured guy, and he was mentally challenged. So from his 30s or maybe mid-20s on, he was on social programs. He couldn't read and write, But anyway, my friend said, you know what? He's got better care than you and I, private care. The doctors know they're going to get paid. He said, don't let them make a monster man out of him. I said, what do you mean? Don't let them make a monster man out of him, Junior. They'll find something to do to him just for a paycheck because they know it's coming. Anyway, so Medicaid is for people who are at a disadvantage financially, physically, or mentally. And she's saying half of New Yorkers are on Medicaid. That is another narrative. Like Tim Walsh says, we want to take care of and protect Minnesotans, people who reside here. They're not talking about citizens. So how do you end up with half of your population, of your millions of people on the dole? Are they all citizens, or are they, in your mind, New Yorkers? New Yorkers from Haiti, New Yorkers from Somalia, New Yorkers from who the hell knows where? And the same thing going on in Minnesota, and same thing going on in many states. So anyway, we're all paying for it. Trump is putting a stop to non-citizens receiving federal benefits. Oh, that's a Cruella de Vil look if I ever saw one. Holy cow. Talk about central casting, finding somebody to be the evil Cruella de Vil. But anyway, or mirror, mirror on the wall. But anyway, let me go ahead and play what she's saying. You'll hear her, she's not going to say one word about citizens.
So all these programs, whether it's the nutrition programs, half of my budget, or a large percent of my budget is Medicaid. Half of New Yorkers are on Medicaid.
And those are lower income New Yorkers. Do you believe that the wealthy are paying their fair share in New York State?
Well, these are seniors also and children. And so, we've been able to manage, but now Donald Trump takes $3 billion out in 1 year and $750 million last year. So that's what's hard to manage. The incoming from Washington, we budget, we set aside money. We look at how much is coming and we manage ourselves. We've been doing this for years. And then I've got the Trump administration just yanking the money that had always been there and is supported by the federal tax dollars that these wealthy people are also sending to Washington that should be coming back to us. So we'll continue the conversation.
Yeah, all that money from Washington we've been using for years and years to build up an illegal alien voter base. That's exactly what you're doing, trying to do just what Spain is doing. Somebody wrote that playbook. Somebody wrote that playbook. Speaking of playbooks, how many times have I talked about Midas Trash Pail Network? They were live tonight. I don't know if they still are. And I have to be fair. It says YouTube featured, and I just started seeing that, and I only saw it on Midas Touch Network, but I did see it on I think it was JLR Investigates. They made his a YouTube feature too. So, but I still think they get favored treatment. But here they are with their unbiased reporting, so-called reporting. They're showing Alex Preddy on his knee and the pistol in a freeze frame. His hand's going to his back. What's he reaching for? Anyway, border agents, and they're putting a word in type capital letters that I can't even say because of what's called TOS, terms of service. They don't get in trouble. I have to say red rummed, right, folks? How many of you out there have heard me say red rum instead of myrrh and then dur? Because I get in trouble when I say that. But they can do it. I hope those agents sue their asses off. That's what I hope. For the people behind this channel and the attorneys that are fostering this kind of vitriol, I hope they get their rear end sued right off. The Border Patrol agents, it turns out both of them were Hispanic. So what's this white guy doing? This scrounger, this racist, as we heard from that Spanish politician. Save us from these radical right-wing scroungers so they can live their communist workers' paradise, as Graybeard said. So anyway, what a vitriolic, libelous title. And they have 3,400 people watching. I hope they sue their eyeballs right out of their heads. If not for this, maybe this isn't far enough. But that kind of bluster causes this. This is Trump Tower that they have been pestering, harassing, vandalizing, disturbing for years. Here they are going in the physical building and they are told to leave and they stay. Look at all those pre-printed signs. Who's paying for this stuff? And I hate to put you through it, but this was what was happening in one of the premier properties in New York City, now being run by a bastardo, a literal. You know what the word bastard means. Look it up. Look it up. A literal B-A-S-tard commie is running New York now. And here's one of the premier properties being taken over by a bunch of radical left lunatics.
How many more have to die? Maxime Cherny. Now's the time. From Minnesota to Palestine. General strike. Now's the time.
You're not allowed to be here.
And this administration, so that all of us remember what is being done by Donald Trump, ICE, and this regime. Have to die. Team Swan Ben. How many more have to die? How many more have to die? How many more have to die? How many more have to? How many more?
Lori, they don't do it because why don't security remove them? They want violence. They want confrontation. The best thing to do is let them look like the abusive asses that they are. Okay? And then they got this old creep right here. He's got some kind of hat on. I'm willing to speculate that it is a hat that a veteran would wear. That is why I have warned, and I've had people get mad at me over it, but I have said many times, don't fall for kissing the ground people walk on when they say they're a vet. There are plenty of veterans who are communist-oriented, okay, are stupid as hell, insinuate they did stolen valor, insinuate they did much more than peel potatoes and run their damn mouth. And then when they come out of the service, they look down their nose at others because I'm a veteran. So, yeah, the veterans that served, the veterans that understood their responsibilities, that understood the Constitution, and didn't work against their country, thank you, thank you, thank you. But to these kind of jerks, they can, to quote Donald Trump, rot in hell.
How many more have to die? How many more have to die? How many more have to die? Garçon! How many more have to die?
Down! Yuck! Ewan!
How many more have to die? To get into the streets and to do everything in their power to non-violently end these atrocities. The time is now. Rise and resist! Rise and resist! Rise!
Pow, 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 pow.
Due to immigration enforcement in Trump 2.0.
Pow, 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 pow. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think I'm leaving too much doubt as to how I feel. All rehearsed, all paid for, except for the true believers. But I'm sure they get a little bit of something to defray their costs, right? And I'd like to know the work history of every damn one of them. How many have been on disability all their life because they wake up sad? How many of them worked in a government job that they didn't have to go in the building and got paychecks? How many of you? A lot. Here's where they're boarding up a building, federal building, in Eugene, I think it is, Oregon, or I'm not sure. I got a video of a guy calling people out to this area. I'll play it for you. Tell me if you think the guy belongs in jail. But here they are boarding up the building after they busted out the glass.
Thank you for your time. Building's closed, please go to the sidewalk.
Can you tell us a little bit of the damage caused last night?
How many tens of thousands of dollars for some slob to go breaking glass out of buildings that belong to us? How much is that costing us? And that's just the one incident. Here's this idiot right here. He's talking about the location we just saw on the screen getting boarded up. Listen to this jerk. Boy, what I wouldn't give.
Hey, Eugene, stop showing up to that federal building without being strapped. I've been holding weekly meetings here in Eugene since September about how to properly resist ICE. And what we have talked about consistently is you do not go out there unless you're ready to slide ICE. You yelling at a building is not affecting their morale. You yelling at a building is not stopping any illegal deportations. Yes, they will tear gas you. Yes, they will shoot at you. Yes, one of you will end up like Renee or Alex, and nobody will be prosecuted. You need to stop doing ineffective things to say that you are doing something. The only way to stop ICE is to make every act of evil costly. They are not paying, and it costs them nothing to do these illegal deportations. If you want ICE to stop in our city, then what you need to do is make every act of evil costly. That means you cannot go out there with a spot.
What kind of costs are you talking about, buddy? You can't yell at a building, and that's not good enough. What is good enough? He if you listen to him carefully, he avoids specific actions, but he's removing yelling at a building or speech, in other words. He's ruling that out. So if you want them to do something other than speech, the only thing left is confrontation and violence. So let's see how long he stays free.
Spine of applesauce. You're yelling at them, you're screaming at them means nothing to them. They still get a paycheck, they still have immunity, and nobody will go to jail no matter what they do to you. There is no precedent anywhere in human history that the way you stop fascism, that the way you stop authoritarianism is by yelling at buildings or holding signs or peacefully protesting. That is a fantasy of this American generation. Your resistance must cause damage to the other side, and it must make every act of evil costly. If your resistance is not doing that, it is not resistance, it is performance. What we need to be doing is consolidating our money, consolidating our resources into a parallel system, building out a parallel system to support the citizens here in Eugene when ultimately our government will and has failed us. That is effective. That is real resistance. That makes every act of evil costly, because what that means is if they do something, they know there are consequences to what they do. So if you want to actually be effective, if we want to actually stop ICE here in Eugene, it's time to bring consequences to the table. We'll be at the same place as always on Sundays, 12 p.m., 454 Willamette Street for our pro-human community meeting. Come on out and learn real resistance training.
Hope you end up eating through a straw when it's all over with, kid. Hope you end up in the joint for a while. And I'll tell you what, an act of evil, you running your mouth like this is the act of evil. You going out here to harass people who are trying to uphold the law, that's an act of evil, buddy. You trying to stick up for people that don't belong in this country, to give away our territory, our wealth, our peace of mind for your damn sense of nobleness, that's evil, you little worm. You little worm. You punk. Now here's Fetterman. Everybody's going, oh, John Fetterman is, talking good about Republicans, and okay, I'll listen to it. But I'll tell you what, I hear what I hear. Other people hear compromise. Other people hear him standing up for ICE because he says, they need to wear masks for the safety. A rational person knows that. That he is for secure borders. But you hear him say getting rid of criminal aliens. He may even say violent criminal aliens. Well, it is a little bit of awakening on the left, but I think he's planting seeds for, well, if they haven't been convicted, they should be allowed to stay. I don't know, but I'm getting whiffs of that. And if that's the case, thanks, but no damn thanks.
I come from this as an absolute secure border Democrat here, and that's where we're at. Like, focus on the secure our border, deport all the criminals, and that we can figure out now. And I also say now, some of the agents wearing masks, I think primarily that's driven by people are going to dox those people. That's a serious concern too. Absolutely, they could target their families, and they are organizing these people to put their names out there. So don't ever dox people and target their families too. So that's part of the churn as well now too.
Okay. With the time we have left, I have a couple other topics.
So anyway, he's, whatever. We'll see how that develops. Oh, here's the story. Iced out. New York Post put it up. Feds furious as New York City judge lets S3X predator migrant flee rather than handing him over to ICE. Well, he looks perfectly reasonable. He looks like he looks like a hard-working man. He looks like somebody, a neighbor. But anyway, look at that judge. How do you think she got there? D-E and then I? I would most certainly say so. I'd like to see what her proficiency is in even spelling, how she enunciates her words. What's the extent of her vocabulary? Well, yeah, I'm being a little too picky, but anyway. Here's Jamie Raskin, before and after. Voting on the contempt for Clinton. That's coming up, folks. What was Clinton supposed to testify about? Epstein. Epstein's involvement in the Clinton Foundation.
Will you vote yes?
I mean, I will vote yes on contempt against them and anybody else as long as Pam Bondi is part of it.
So you vote no on the Clinton?
I will definitely vote no on any partisan measure.
When you are subpoenaed to testify in court or in Congress, you show up, period. So we must enforce the rule of law here, my colleagues. We must do it. If you act deliberately with sneering, cavalier contempt for the American people and their representatives, we will hold you in contempt.
Well, let's see what you do, Jamie. Jamie Raskin. Oh, by the way, a lot of you went to see Melania's documentary. And the Hollywood Reporter put this up. Box office Melania. Trump reposted this. Heads for $8 million opening. Best showing in a decade for a documentary. There she is looking at her baby boy. How the heck did he get so tall, Melania? And she's probably asking herself the same thing. But anyway, you can see she loves her baby boy. And there he is. And we're going to be watching his career with great interest, right? Baron Trump. But anyway, yeah, she broke a record and she's doing well, no matter what the left says. Anyway, I've got something here. Let me see if this is from Clandestine. I got a couple of things from Clandestine. Who benefited the most from CVID. The Dems. Trump's economy was destroyed, and the Dems were given the pretext to produce mass mail-in ballots, in which they harvested and delivered it to blue counties in swing states and stole the 2020 election. CVID, right, was man-made. 2 and 2 equals 4. In other words, it's flipping common sense. Then he goes into detail, okay? Flashback to May 1st, 2025. DNI Gabbard confirmed she was investigating the origins of COVID and mentioned the BIO labs in Ukraine. Just a few weeks before this in April, she confirmed she was investigating potential fraud in the 2020 election. These two things are connected. COVID is what opened the door for massive fraud in the 2020 election via mass mail-in ballots, in which the Dems harvested and delivered to the blue counties in swing states in the middle of the night after counting had stopped, like in Fulton County, Georgia. Meanwhile, Gabbard was on the ground at the FBI raid, we all saw that, in Fulton County this week to confiscate hundreds of thousands of ballots. Wait a minute, where'd it go? I got to find where I dropped off at. There we go. From the 2020 election. I think Gabbard just confiscated mail-in ballots that had been harvested in this election fraud scheme. Remember what I said? Keep in mind about watermarks. Keep in mind about forensic examination of the paper. Even fingerprints. I think Gabbard has already tracked these ballots to their origin and will be able to prove they were delivered to Fulton County illegally. And what made this entire scheme possible? CVID. The virus has since been confirmed to be man-made. I think Gabbard is investigating the origins of CVID, the fraud in the 2020 election, Russiagate, Obama's treasonous coup, etc., all as one giant conspiracy case. I concur. I think after Russiagate failed, the Dems released COVID intentionally, destroying Trump's economy and approval, enabled mass mail-in ballots, harvested the ballots, all part of their larger plot to remove Trump by any means necessary. It was one giant regime change operation, and it's still happening right now. So giant of a regime change operation, I posit to you that there's going to be evidence of foreign interference, foreign involvement of multiple countries, acts of war. That's one other reason why they're going to do what Trump wants them to do. I'm talking about the EU. So at the bottom there, he had a video of Tulsi Gabbard, which I will play for you, where she's discussing BIO labs. Oh, I had that video too, where they were talking about organ harvesting and sales. Okay, but anyway, let me go ahead and play this video for you.
That we are working with Jay Bhattacharya, the new NIH director, with, as well as Secretary Kennedy, is looking at the gain-of-function research that, in the case of the Wuhan lab, as well as many of these other biolabs around the world, was actually U.S. funded. and leads to this dangerous kind of research that in many examples has resulted in either a pandemic or some other major health crisis.
Well, let me ask you specifically, because we already know that EcoHealth Alliance was partnering with this Wuhan lab to do gain of function research.
That's right.
We just have never been able to have somebody say, it was that exact experiment that led to this COVID bug. But have we gotten there? What's the new thing that you're digging in on?
We are working on that with Jay Bhattacharya and look forward to being able to share that hopefully very soon.
Okay.
That specific
link,
correct, between the gain of function research and what we saw with COVID-19.
I mean, that would be extraordinary because just so the audience knows, if that's true, if it was Peter Daszak's research with the Wuhan so-called bat lady that caused this pandemic, then we did fund it. Then Anthony Fauci helped fund the pandemic.
The thing that he denied over and over and over to Senator Rand Paul's questioning.
That's right, under oath.
Under oath, exactly. So is it any wonder that he sought a preemptive pardon for anything during a certain period of time by President Biden before he left office?
And then strong-armed and smeared people like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, anybody who came out and said, I don't know if that's natural. This actually smacks of lab.
And the reason why this is so important is not just what happened in the past, it's because this gain of function research is happening in biolabs around the world. I got attacked, and I think you saw this, we've probably talked about it on your show before, when I warned against US-funded biolabs in Ukraine when the Russia-Ukraine war kicked off for this very reason. Who knows what kinds of pathogens are in these labs, and if released, could create another COVID-like pandemic. And for that, I was called a Russian asset. You're, trumpeting Putin's talking points, all of this nonsense, simply for speaking the truth and stating facts that, by the way, are still on U.S. Embassy Ukraine's website today about how the U.S. has funded these biolabs in Ukraine. But my point is, in order to prevent another COVID-like pandemic or another major health incident that could affect us in the world, we have to end this gain of function research and provide the evidence that shows exactly why and how it's in our best interest, the American people's best interest, to bring about an end to it.
We need to prosecute gain of function research, in my opinion. So anyway, Gene Pirro said this: if money is quietly moving crowds in the streets, it's time to treat it like organized crime. This is worldwide. There's a video out about Antifa where they beat a French police officer in France. They're raising hell over there. They're raising hell in Spain. They're raising hell in this country. Same playbook, same narratives, and is it the same groups funding these protests, backing these politicians? I'm almost certain of it. Because here's a guy that's even running for mayor. Where is he? This creep right here. He's calling for gang leaders. And he's saying, don't take it out on the local police. But he wants the leaders of 55 gangs to meet him. To do what? He wants to evict the federal law enforcement. How are you going to do that? Gangs are criminal, aren't they? So you want to have a meeting with all the 55 criminal organizations to resist the federal government?
My name is Rogelio Martinez. I am calling all 55 gangs in my beautiful city. I expect a gang leader from every gang, all 55 gangs, and I'm not going to name them by name, but I'm calling the Latino gangs. I'm calling the Cambodian gangs. I'm calling the Filipino gangs. I'm calling the black gangs. I'm calling the Pacific Islander gangs. I'm calling all gang leaders to meet me right here, Long Beach City Hall, this coming Monday. Why Monday? Specifically, I need you to be here to meet me in person to take back this city. Because our leadership is not doing anything about it, and our police are powerless. Once again, let me be very clear. My name is Rogelio Martinez, your 2026 Long Beach City Mayor, and I need your help. I need to see 55 gang leaders here this coming Monday. We need to take back the city. Enough is enough. ICE needs to get out of Long Beach. And this is the only way that I know how to get them out. Peacefully, but with strong force. But peacefully. And remember, the police are not at fault. The police are not doing anything wrong. I'm not here to defund the police. I stand with my Long Beach police officers, my men and women that serve the Long Beach Police Department. But they are powerless. They are powerless against ICE. I need your help. I need all 55 gang leaders to meet me here this coming Monday. And we need to take back Long Beach. Enough is enough. We cannot have any more innocent people be taken and detained.
Yeah, so you're going to peacefully, with 55 gang leaders, and then sprinkle that crap in about being peaceful with the police officers. You're walking a fine line. I'm sure somebody will be paying attention to your meeting. Who's this? Oh, Schmuck Schumer. Schmuck. He's coming right out and saying it, folks, what they want.
Short of workers, we have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
Right there, he wants to legalize all of them because we're not reproducing enough. Is it perhaps because we talk parents into allowing their children to remove their genitalia? Maybe that has something to do with reproduction. And did you hear about Epstein? That he was asking about how to promote transgenderism with kids as young as 3? Along with a lot of other nefarious things that he was involved in, we'll talk about in the future. Because I will be going live tomorrow night. And here is a blast from the past about Donald Trump talking about Epstein. Epstein Island. Who was going there? We're going to get into it all. How you doing, Roland, Sparky, Robert? Nice to see you. And I saw a newbie in here. No. How you doing, nobody? Nice to meet you. And anybody I may have missed. And I want to thank Wayne and Miss Mendersu for going buy me a coffee. You know, I went through the whole broadcast and didn't put a link one time in for buy me a coffee. I apologize for that, but I will put one in the chats right now at the 143 mark, 144 mark right there. If anybody wants to go to buy me a coffee and help the channel out. So, again, thank you to Miss Mendersu and my friend Wayne. And I hope you all have given me some thumbs ups and shared the video. And if you're not subscribed, why not? I just want to know, why not? It helps the video get around if you do subscribe. So anyway, enjoy this video about Donald J. Trump. What is coming in the future? Do you think that Trump really did not want the Epstein files to come out? Of course he did. It's called the takeaway. In sales, it's called a takeaway. No, you don't want this. You don't want it. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So now everybody's paying attention. After 10 years of saying Epstein, 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 nobody left gave a damn till Trump said, I don't want you all looking at that. Oh, we want to see it. It's called the takeaway, folks. But anyway, enjoy this video. Thank you for spending your precious time with me. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
Speaking about some of his friends that are hedge fund guys, they're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the island.
Do you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of sick people. Where did you see the people laying outside?